Welcome, everyone. This is Eric Glazer with Greg Roth and the production team from the Sharp Squares community, and you are listening to your Sharp Squares podcast for Week 14 of the NFL season 2023-24. We're going to start a little bit differently. We're going to start with the top Sharps records to start off the show today, just to give you guys an update here as we enter into the last quarter or so of the season. Our top Sharps, who are all over 60% against the spread, will work our way up to number one. So I would suppose this is number six of all of our Sharps. We have six guys over 60%. Scott Seidenberg for the Dream Preview is 29-19, 60.4% versus the number. By the way, versus the number is the DraftKings Pick 5 Lions. So if these guys are taking different numbers, their records that they report on their show may be different than ours by a little bit. It'll be directionally darn close, though. Scott Seidenberg, 60.4%. Stuckey from the Action Network, 25-15. He's actually 25-15-1, 62.5%. RJ White from CBS Pick 6, 27-16, 62.8%. AJ Hoffman from the Dream Preview, 37-20, 64.9%. Rob Pizzola from Forward Progress, 18-9-2, 66.7%. And number one, and this was shocking to me because this person has never been particularly strong on his public sides. Gil Alexander beating the book, 26-12, leading the way at 68.4%. Last week, our Sharps in aggregate were a woeful 48.4%. Our medal game was 1-0. We only had one, and that was our only win. This was a particularly tough week with some missed extra points, as you all know, and the Jaguars' performance. We were 1-4 in Pick 5. Even worse for us because 2 weeks ago we were in second place in 3-2-1. We went 1-2 there, and unfortunately, San Francisco was only our 1 point game. We were 1 out of 6 there. So for the season, our Sharps in aggregate 53%, medal game 62.9%, Pick 5 we were at a very pedestrian 53.85%. We are 65.7% from a win-loss standpoint, but unfortunately have not done as well with our 3-point picks, and so are only 61.54% on our total points. Incidentally, since I brought it up, and let me just be spontaneous here with my own show, our gold, silver, bronze picks, if you want, so far for the season, I told you at the front, 62.9%. Let me give you my gold, silver, and bronze. So overall, as I said at the top, we're at 62.9% for all of our medal games. Now, for the gold games, just the gold games, we're 11-8, 57.9%. For our silver games, we are 10-6, 62.5%, so a little bit better. And for our bronze games, we are 18-9, 66.7%. Just the way it is this season. In the past, our gold games have been in fuego. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it this year. Just is what it is. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Greg and the guys are going to take you the rest of the way. You'll get me at the end just to say goodbye. We're going to start with everyone's favorite segment, the best picks of the week. We categorize them in gold, silver, bronze, and to bring you all of that important information is everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. Last week, just one medal game. It was a highly ranked medal game, though. And it was an easy winner, the 49ers. It didn't matter, as it turns out, whether you had -2.5 or -3. This week, a little bit more action. There are 4 medal games. There are 2 gold games. There are 2 silver games. There are 0 bronze games. I'm going to give you the games in order. The gold games, it's important to note again, the top-rated gold game also around the same high rank as the 49ers were last week. It would be one of our top rated games of the year, top 2 or 3 highest rated games of the year, and the second rated gold game, also very highly rated. Again, unofficial, but I think in the top 5 or 6 based on my memory, which may not be that good. Highly rated gold games. The first pick is the Chicago Bears. They're plus 3.5, welcoming the Detroit Lions to Chicago. Cleve TA, the Favorites podcast, Fabian Summer, Tommy the Hitman, Stuckey, Ross Tucker, Joe Ranieri, AJ Hoffman, RJ Bell, and Steve Fezzik all picked the Bears. Nobody picked the Lions. What could go wrong? The second highest rated gold game. The pick is the Las Vegas Raiders, plus 3.5. They're also a home dog, welcoming the Minnesota Vikings. RJ White, Rob Pizzola, Ross Tucker, RJ Bell, and Steve Fezzik all picked the Raiders. There was dissent on the Vikings from Adam Chernoff. 2 silver games. The top rated silver game. The pick is the Los Angeles Rams. They're plus 7.5, traveling across the country to take on the Baltimore Ravens. AJ Hoffman, Ross Tucker, Fabian Summer, Whale Capper, the Favorites podcast. They all picked the Rams. There was dissent on the Ravens from Will Brinson and Scott Seidenberg. The last medal game, also silver. The pick is the Carolina Panthers. They're plus 5.5. They're traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Ross Tucker, Chris Raybon, Will Brinson, and the Favorites podcast all picked Carolina. There was no dissent on the Saints. So we have 2 home dogs at gold with the Bears and the Raiders, and 2 road dogs at silver with the Rams and the Panthers. Man, oh man, I don't know, guys. The Bears and the Raiders and the Panthers were taken this week. Could be a very long Sunday afternoon. So to recap, gold, Bears and Raiders, silver, Rams and Panthers. So for pick 5, we have 4 medal games. We need to add a game. As we've done in the recent past, we're just going to take the next highest rated game. It almost made bronze status. It was close, but not quite. It was the 5th highest rated game, and that pick is the Cleveland Browns. Let me set that game up for you. They're at home, minus 3.5, welcoming the Jacksonville Jaguars. RJ Bell, AJ Hoffman, Stuckey, Gil Alexander, Will Brinson, and Madden Chernoff all picked Cleveland. Nobody picked the Jaguars. So I'm going to give it to you with our lines, our pick 5. Bears plus 3.5, Raiders plus 3, Rams plus 7.5, Panthers plus 5. Add the Browns plus 3. I'm sorry, the Browns minus 3 for our pick 5. For 3-2-1, as has happened the last few weeks, some line movement changes our 3-2-1 picks. This week, it's pretty clear. The Bears, which was our top rated game in pick 5, they're only plus 3 in 3-2-1. We have them plus 3.5 in pick 5. They drop out of the top 3 because of that. There's still a medal game in 3-2-1, but they drop out of the top 3. The Browns, who are our 5th highest rated game in pick 5 and didn't make medal status, they skyrocket to the 3-point game because our line in 3-2-1 is minus 3 versus minus 3.5. So 3-2-1, 3-point game, Browns minus 3, 2-point game, Raiders plus 3, 1-point game, Rams plus 7.5. You see the Rams and the Raiders sort of held their positions in both pools because the lines were the same. So if that's all you're looking for, you are now dismissed. But if you want to stick around for some trends and some handicapping highlights, here we go. First trend in the past 3 seasons, Lamar Jackson is 1-8 against the spread as a favorite of 7 or more points. This trend courtesy of Bet Labs. The Ravens, of course, they're minus 7 versus the aforementioned Rams, which is our silver game. Second trend in the past 3 seasons, NFL teams that scored 40 or more points the previous week have gone 24-42. That's 36% against the spread. The next week, who scored 40 points last week? That would be the Dolphins, the 49ers, and the Cowboys. This says fade them. The Dolphins are minus 13.5 versus the Titans. The 49ers are minus 10.5 versus the Seahawks. And the Cowboys are minus 3.5 versus the Eagles. None of our picks are relevant to that trend. Last trend, CJ Stroud against the spread. As a favorite, he's 1-4 against the spread. But as an underdog, he's 5-2 ATS. This week, Houston, they're a favorite at the New York Jets -5.5. Handicapping highlights. I need some help. All by my lonesome here. Gold, silver, bronze trends. I'm exhausted. I need some help. I'm going to call in the ambassador to take away the first game.
Thank you, Greg. The first game is the Lions at the Bears. The pick is the Bears +3.5. And for the first time in Sharp Square's history, we have a musical theme. And I apologize in advance. When the weather outside is frightful, Goff's play is not delightful. Thank you very much. I'll be here.
Encore, encore, encore.
Got to wait for handicap highlight number 2. See if there's any singing there. Stuckey from the Action Network loves fading Jared Goff in the outdoors, especially when weather is a factor, which it usually is outdoors. Raybon agrees and thinks that Goff is half the quarterback he is when he's outdoors. Chad Millman from the Favorites podcast brought receipts. He says Goff outdoors is 34-34-2 against the spread and 9-14-1 against the spread in December and January games. And he averages less than 14 points per game when the temperature is below 50 degrees. By the way, this Sunday, it should be a high of 38 degrees at Soldier Field at noon, and then it'll get colder after that, down to about 30 degrees by 3 o'clock. From the Dream Previews, AJ Hoffman, in addition to having to deal with the cold weather, Detroit's D-line is under the weather as they are without defensive tackle Aleem McNeil, their number 2 PFF guy, with an 88 Pro Football Focus score. And the Hitman points out that the Lions struggle against mobile quarterbacks in general and Justin Fields in particular, who has run for 100 yards against this defense in 3 straight games. He also says that Detroit's run defense ranks 24th since week 7. Plus, Goff struggles versus cover 2, and the Bears run the most cover 2 in the league. Finally, Chicago is only allowing 5.9 yards per pass attempt, which is second in the league. Timestamps for this game: Action Network 19 minutes and 10 seconds, Forward Progress 5 minutes and 40 seconds, The Dream Preview 49 minutes and 54 seconds, The Favorites 18 minutes and 15 seconds, Even Money 10 minutes and 20 seconds, and Wager Talk 39 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thanks, Dave. Second goal game. These notes courtesy of Chris Deester. Raiders are the pick +3.5 hosting the Vikings. This theme, which is one of my favorite themes in the year. Who is Minnesota to be laying 3.5 points on the road, especially a motivated team? A very good question, indeed. RJ White from CBS Pick 6 points out that Minnesota has not covered more than 3 points on the road all year, even with Kirk Cousins at QB, and that this game should be closer to pick 'em. Steve Fezzik from the Dream Preview says that even with upgrading Minnesota 1.5 points for Justin Jefferson being back in the lineup, which might be too much anyway, that only gets his line to Minnesota -2.75. Fezzik also says that the Raiders playing Minnesota and Chargers the next 2 weeks could be very motivating to get them back to 500. Plus, the Raiders have an interim coach that the team clearly likes. Playing for Ross Tucker agrees with Fezzik on the motivation argument. Rob Pizzola notes that Raiders QB Aiden O'Connell succeeds against teams that play cover 2 and cover 3, and Minnesota is 25th in man coverage and leads the league in cover 2 and top 10 rate of cover 3. There is dissent from Adam Chernoff, however, on the Vikings. He predicts Raiders QB Aiden O'Connell will start to struggle as he ranks 30th in EPA on the season, and there's lots of luck baked into his stats. Chernoff also thinks that the Vikings are getting healthy on both sides of the ball and deserves a bigger upgrade than they are receiving this game. Timestamps: CBS Pick 6, 39 minutes, 30 seconds. Dream Preview, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 34 seconds. Forward Progress, 58 minutes even. And Even Money, 18 minutes, 37 seconds. So we're just going to do those 2 games today. Eric's not here. There are lots of other handicapping highlights, including of the silver games. Of course, all the notes from all the podcasts that we follow are in our Discord community. You can join by going to sharpsquarespodcast.com and following the links and join, and you can see all the handicapping highlights for all the medal games today. But Eric, we did what we could without you. Safe travels. We pass it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. You made it very easy for me this week. Just want to remind everyone listening, we are certainly not sharp. But this has been your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.